everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies, featuring the recipes from the World of Tolkien Cookbook. The entree fish and chips was pretty good last week, so now we're on to the dessert, Bilbo's 11th birthday cake. First up, let's set the story. For chocolate lovers, make a chocolate and raspberry version of this cake by replacing 25 grams of the flour with 25 grams of cocoa powder, swapping the strawberries for raspberries, and using raspberry jam for the filling. For an even more indulgent birthday treat, grate dark chocolate over the cake to finish. The Lord of the Rings opens with a magnificent feast, a party to celebrate Bilbo Baggins' 11th birthday. Hobbits come from near and far to attend the party, and Gandalf puts on a fireworks show featuring a dragon in his honor. The big surprise of the night is Bilbo's farewell speech and sudden disappearance as he slips on the One Ring and secretly leaves Bag End for his last adventure and retirement to Rivendell. The birthday cake recipe below can be made in various versions to please a crowd of even the most demanding hobbits or humans. Experiment with using different jams and berries to further customize this cake for your own long-awaited party. We're going to get kind of a 2-for-1 out of this recipe, but I will explain more about how that's going to work as we move over to the table to see what the ingredients are. As usual with the recipe being in metric, I've included all the conversions where I need them in the description, or in the recipe. To make this recipe, we need 175 grams of slightly salted butter, aka 3/4 of a cup, softened. I'll probably put that in the microwave for add 30. We need 175 grams of caster sugar, aka 3/4 of a cup. I will be using regular sugar for that. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 300 grams or 2 1/3 cups of self-rising flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 3 eggs, 50 grams or 1/3 of a cup of ground rice, 150 milliliters of natural yogurt. I've still got Greek yogurt to use up, and 3 eggs. Actually, we skipped over the 3 eggs. And 175 grams of strawberries, hulled and cut into wedges, aka 3/4 of a cup. To finish that, we need 300 milliliters of double cream and 3 tablespoons of strawberry jam. Now the double cream is where the 2-for-1 is going to come into play, because I've got a recipe for double cream online that I'm going to try. I needed this 2 weeks ago for the strawberry and lavender shortcakes, but I just used heavy cream instead, and I wish I would have tried the double cream. So we'll try the double cream this week. To make that, and I forgot to get it out of the fridge, so bear with me while I grab that. To make the double cream, we need 4 ounces of mascarpone cheese. This will be my first time ever working with that. 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of heavy cream, another half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and a pinch of salt. I'll get the salt out when I'm ready for that. With that in mind, let's move into the kitchen and start putting this recipe together. You'll probably hear the oven chirping in the background. I'm actually going in for something I'm going to need into my silverware drawer. The oven's preheating to 375 right now as I work on this. So now we've got the food processor in shot, so we're going to take the butter, sugar, and vanilla and put it in there and blend until smooth. So we've got the butter, which actually melted more than I was expecting it to. So we'll take the butter, scrape that out with a spatula. Bring that over toward the dishes. We want the sugar next, all 3/4 of a cup of that. One, 2, and 3. And the 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, right? Yes. Fortunately, I've got a 2 teaspoon measuring spoon. And then just as a reminder, I'm actually going to give the front of the food processor a quick wipe off. As a quick reminder, the food processor is on the loud side, so if you're wearing headphones, you'll probably want to take them off before I turn the food processor on. Once I've got everything ready, I'll give you guys a 5-second warning before I turn the food processor on. I actually had a fair bit of problems last week with it, but now I've got it. So again, once again, we want to blend this until it's smooth, and here's your 5-second warning. Quick look there. Okay. We'll maybe hit it with a couple more pulses. Okay, that looks pretty smooth. So now we want to take in the flour and the baking powder. So now we want to put in the flour and the baking powder, which I've got my self-rising flour right here. We need 2 1/3 cup of that, which hopefully I've got enough in here. We will certainly find out soon enough. I've got a 2/3 measuring cup over here. Let's see, 1. Down there a little bit more. 2, 3, bringing us up to 2 cups. And a 1/3 cup. I have one more clip here. I do. So that can go back up. Actually, I can go up for the first time. Then we want the 2 teaspoons of baking powder, which I've got that right here. One. And 2. And actually we'll give that a quick mix here. What did I do with the lid? I just put that right here. So we'll give that just a quick mix to start breaking it up a little bit. Okay. So that's a couple quick pulses, and now we'll bring everything else in. So now we'll bring in the eggs, ground rice, and the yogurt. So we need 3 eggs. There's 1. 2. And 3. There we are. And the last thing we need is the 150 milliliters of yogurt, which I'm of course using Greek yogurt. And I'm going to give this a quick wipe down again. Let's see, 150 milliliters on that side. See if I can flatten. Okay. There's our yogurt. Alright, and that can go back into the fridge. And now once we get this in, we want to mix that together until it's all creamy. And here's another 5-second warning before I turn the food processor back on. Okay, I'm going to scrape down the sides real quick. I don't like what I'm hearing, though, from in there. Well, that's probably about as good as it's going to get. And I didn't like what I was hearing as the food processor was running anyway. Hopefully I didn't just burn out the motor or something on this. But we'll keep an eye on that. Anyway, now that we've got that all done, now we need the pie plates back, the cake pans back in shot. The official first step of the recipe was to grease and line two 20 centimeter cake tins. And the oven just chirped being at 375. So looking at how deep these pans are, I might only need one actually, but we'll find out. As the goal here is to divide the mixture between the two prepared tins and level the surface. So let's see what we get here. It's definitely not pouring as well as I would have liked, but maybe I shouldn't be expecting it to pour. I'm going to move to a side here because it's feeling very awkward trying to pour this over the top of the camera. And yeah, looking at how deep these cake tins are, I think I only need one. Which means I may end up taking some liberties with some steps later on in the recipe. I'm going to see if I can get this. I can't get a hold on the blade yet, but I do want to see if I can lift that out here before too much longer. It's definitely going to need to get cleaned anyway, so it's already going to need to get lifted out. So let's see if I can get a hold on it now. Oh, I was trying to unscrew it, but it just lifts out. Silly me. Okay. All right. Yeah, we should be able to scoop the rest of this cake, rest of this mix out. And yes, I am going to get the clips out before this goes anywhere near the oven. I was just using the clips there. I was using the clips there just to help hold the parchment paper in place. So now the clips, after I give my hands a quick wash, the clips at this point can probably come out. Oh, I forgot to put the rice in there. Well, we're not going to worry about the rice now because it's too late. I'm scooping everything out. But I never really did like what the rice did to the... I never did really like what the rice did to the shortcakes anyway, so I'm not completely heartbroken to skip the rice in this cake recipe. So now we'll see about flattening the surface down here. And I'm gonna grab a flatter spatula, see if that gives me any more help on trying to level this down. Not particularly from the looks of it, but we'll go with it. So now what we want to do is we want to put that in a preheated oven, which I've already preheated to 375 for 35 to 40 minutes until risen, golden, and springy to the touch. So I'm going to get this out of the way. Get the camera out of the way a bit. Set the kitchen timer for 40 minutes. And we'll come back to that when that comes out of the oven. In the meantime, though, I'm just deciding what I want to work on here next. We'll come back to one of the next steps. I haven't decided what that's going to be yet, whether we wait until we come out of the oven or whether I go make the double cream, but I think we'll come back when this comes out of the oven. Here's our first look at the cake as it comes out of the oven. What we're going to do with it now is we're going to leave it to cool in the tin for 10 minutes, then we'll turn it onto a wire rack and take off the parchment paper to let it cool completely. After that point, we're going to come back once I've turned it over onto the wire rack to cool, and at that point we're going to work on making the double cream. While the main cake is cooling, now we're going to work on the heavy cream. So in order to make the heavy cream, first up we need our 4 ounces of mascarpone cheese, which is apparently a slightly sweeter cream cheese. If I can ever get this thing open. There we are. I had a pretty sharp knife ready to go through the plastic, but I didn't need it. Since this is an 8-ounce container, we need about half of this. And I have a feeling I'm going to wish I'd reached for the hand mixer for this very shortly. But it looks like it's coming out easily enough. we'll put that back in the fridge. Then, speaking of the fridge, we need a cup plus 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. The 2 tablespoons of heavy cream is not supposed to be ultra pasteurized, but ultra pasteurized is all I can find, so we're just going to use that. So here's our 1 cup. I'll grab a spatula so I can scrape more of this out. Plus 2 more tablespoons of heavy cream. Okay, so I didn't need to buy another thing of it at Festies this morning when I went grocery shopping. Then we want our ½ teaspoon of vanilla extract, which of course I brought right in front of my face, so I wouldn't have to go looking for it. Our 2 tablespoons of sugar, which I've got the sugar right here. And once I get it down, a pinch of salt. And then we're going to whisk this together until the cream holds its shape. So this hopefully won't take too long. Hopefully this isn't supposed to take too long, because my arm is starting to get sore from that. And it's still, as you can probably see here, it's still very liquidy. You're also supposed to refrigerate it until it's ready for use. Maybe that's going to give it some set time. The problem here though is that I'm basically going to be using it right away. Especially since I'm very much short on space in my refrigerator here to be able to even put this container in to begin with. Should be used within an hour after it's made, so like I said. Like I said, the thing here is I'm basically going to be using this right away. I'm hoping there's something in the main recipe that's going to help it. Whip the cream in a bowl until soft peaks form. So I don't think that's what I'm... I'm trying to get to soft peaks here. But it doesn't seem like I'm getting to it. Well... my guess is this is going to be another pour over the top of it. Because I don't think this is exactly getting to a place where I want it to be. Scrape down the side, see if I can integrate more of it in here. Maybe that'll help. But I'm very much doubting that. It feels like it's getting a little bit more solid, but it's still not exactly to a place where I trust it. But it does seem like it's starting to solidify a little bit on me. So maybe this is where I want to be with it. Because it seems like we are starting to have some peaks form, and it's getting a little bit less... it's getting a little bit less runny at this point. Heavy cream is not something or double cream is not something I've ever made before, and I'm admittedly usually terrible when it comes to making stuff like gravy off of roasts. But this seems like it's actually getting to where I want it to be, surprisingly enough. So now I think we can actually bring the cake pan... actually, I think we can bring the cake back in shot. At this point, the recipe, as written in the description down below, will be assuming that you actually used 2 cake tins and divided the cake mixture earlier. Since we used one, since I used one earlier, I'm going to take some liberties at this point. So, now what I want to do is I want to take the strawberry jam, cut the top off one of the cakes, spread with the jam, and then half of the cream. So actually, this is where I needed the 1.5 tablespoon measuring cup, because this is where I needed the strawberry jam, which is right back here. There's that. Alright, that's not gonna... I'm not going to be able to fit that in there, so I'll have to use the spigot to get what I need out. So there's the 1.5. And 3. Once it decides it wants to pour. Next, I'm going to put this down so I can get both hands on the jam. There we go. Whoa. Not expect it to go right through. That could be a small problem. But now what else I want to do is I'm actually going to end up pouring the double cream over the top of this. Let me get my spatula in here. I'm trying to get the whisk out. There There we are. I'm just getting as much of the double cream out as I can here. That'll probably be plenty. Then we'll spread that out. Go around spreading down the frosting on the sides, well, the frosting around the sides of the cake. Okay. Then we'll top it with the strawberries. Again, the recipe as written looks a little bit different because this is assuming you did a different... Because the recipe as written assumes you use 2 cake tins. Again, I made modifications here because I am only using 1. We'll press that down into the cream as best we can. And there's our first look at the finished cake. So, I'm going to wash my hands up real quick. Then, I'm going to cut this into 8 pieces. We'll plate 1, and then I'll meet you guys over at my desk for the taste test. Actually, let me tip the camera up so you get a little better look at it. Which again, I'll cut this into 8 pieces. Then I'll plate 1, and I'll meet you guys at my desk for the taste test. For a first time making a cake like this, it doesn't seem like it seems like it held mostly pretty well. Let's give this a taste though and see what I think. The consistency seems pretty good all told, so let's see. It's okay as a cake, really nothing special. I'm at least going to finish this piece. Maybe I'll have another 1 more over the weekend, but we'll see about that. I mean, it's a typical birthday cake. It's a lot more work than if you buy store-bought, but it's not bad all around. That's another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. Next week, we will be in a new cookbook. We'll have more on that during Pino with Phoenix on Friday. As for what else is coming up on the channel, later this afternoon, we are going to be playing the first National League wildcard game in my 1985 replay in season ticket baseball, as the Montreal Expos will be in Cincinnati to take on the Reds. Bryn Smith will be going for the Expos, and Mario Soto is going for the Reds. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have the American League wildcard game in the same replay. That'll be the Detroit Tigers taking on the Kansas City Royals at Royals Stadium. Jack Morris will be going for the Tigers, and Brett Saberhagen will be going for the Royals. Wednesday, we're going to be doing a 3rd period test in APA hockey. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, Take care, everyone.